Well, all right, Yahsinni is in the motherfucking house. Oh, I promise you. How are you? My day today is going like this. Par par, birdie, par, bogey, hole in one, par par. All right, so with that being said, I am going to be jumping right back into the 10 mental laws and the power of the mind. I promise you, it's also known by this original title of Mental Clarity Software for Your Hardware. And it's written by Barbara Berger. And fire trucks and police love to turn down my street every day with their sirens on. And this is not a bad neighborhood per se. But anyway, that just tried to throw me off track. But I don't want to be off track just yet. I want to share a conversation that I had with my man. And since we're always eager to construct logical conversations that stimulate the brain, the mind, the spirit, amongst other things, we generally have philosophical conversations. This ain't even an area to be having any noises for real, but somehow when I do my videos, then it's non-stop. You're gonna hear like cars peeling through, a loud blasting ass music, probably plenty choppers. Right. Well, normally this ain't the hood. I'm in Milwaukee, but I'm not in the hood. Okay, I'm in the hood, but not in the hood, where anything can fucking happen any fucking day. So, so I made this video yesterday or the other day, part one of this, the one I'm reading now, the 10 mental laws. 10 mental laws and the power of mind. So, and from what I read yesterday, I'm saying, okay, so if it's true that everything follows law and law is not a theory, it can be tested time and time again, having the same results for whatever ingredients you put into the cause. The effect is a result of the cause, and you could tell the cause by just breaking down what the effects were. In other words, doing a little logic and figuring shit out, using the process of elimination and other known tools to people who are resourceful and solve hell fuck problems daily. Yeah, so I said if um, the law of cause and effect, the law of correspondence, and a few other laws that are immutable is said to be a blueprint for the universe, this universe, Why do we clearly see some laws not working for said same event? For instance, if the earth is an organism in the macroverse and we are like the small scale little ones, you know, in the microverse, and but we're mirror image of each other, meaning as above, so below. And since the earth is bigger than us, way bigger, that would be the as above. The so below would be us. So if we don't want to study ourselves, we could study the earth or nature and just apply that to ourselves and be all the more smarter. But some of us, we don't want to know what's going on there or here, and we're settled for limited, programmed, MK Ultra ass mofos. Yeah, let's make it simple. So indeed, if that's not true, then the earth should have discovered a long hell fuck time ago, more than 2,000 years ago. I'll bet money on 2,600 years ago and say that a problem arose. Some years later, you knew you were infected with something. You, Earth, I'm talking to, the macro organism. Yeah, so if you are under universal law, you should have had written in your code to start self-healing. Yeah. Have your mind go in there and do some things, turning and churning, and you're chanting maybe, or whatever you're doing to make sure that you get your outcome. Yeah, so the earth should have known a long time ago that there were, let's call it, free radicals invading her organs. Yeah, remapping shit. Changing and exchanging and rearranging and transforming and transcending your cells. And so the main response is going to be to come into homeostasis. You're going to fight by nature. You're at least going to try. And so every fucking cell in the organs get on code, blueprint code, and follow the script to balance or neutralize the invader and maintain homeostasis at about 7.2, 7.4 pH. That's when you're going to be healed. So back to the subject at hand. Um, how the hell fuck the Earth is going to have a virus for 2,600 years, and he still hasn't gotten rid of it? And either the Earth as an organism should be progressing or dying like us. Stop progressing and see what happens. Yeah, yeah. So I want to know how come a blueprint wasn't written for the Earth itself as the same code that we got, since we're both nature. Yeah, hardware. We need to take a look at the software that's been written for us, and we don't know what the rules are. We don't know nothing that it says, how it's working. We don't know anything about the software. We do know one thing, that uh, BG probably had something to do with all the viruses, um, since however old he is and has been on this earth. And there was virus. In other words, all the new viruses that are in the same time frame of him being like 15 to however the hell fuck old he is now, then let's just say things have been being created like a motherfucker without our knowledge, without our consent. Yeah. Would we think that we would like to have that information uh, if we knew that war tactics were being used without a declaration? And so one side is getting over and is writing the rules and advancing and dismantling us all at the same time. We don't understand that we need to be making some moves of our own and trying to get the playing field even. Nobody's gonna slow down and let you catch up in a war, or your enemy. Period. Is not going to give you tips and hints and support of how you can win the game. Yeah. Why hasn't Earth defeated its virus that's been here for at least 2,000 years? And maybe 600 years before that, before they changed the timeline and fell into a new scenery that you don't care to go and watch the whole movie. You only want to see the ending, and um, you're not going to be able to tell what happened that caused that effect of the ending. right in Earth as soon as it saw that it was being damaged and poisoned by plastics, chemtrails, cloud seeding, um, pollution from rockets. All the trees have been cut down, which is part of the ecosystem of Earth. As more trees are cut down, there's less oxygen in the air. The less oxygen that's in the air, the more we're stunning growth physically and mentally. So, I'm going to read now. The 10 Mental Laws and the Power of Mind, also known by its original title, Mental Technology Software for Your Hardware, by Barbara Berger. So, I read to you the first part of the book, which was called Part 1, Principle. That was the 10 mental laws and mental technology. And so I stopped. Yeah, that's where I stopped. I stopped at law number 1, the law of cause and effect. Let me see if I actually. Okay, so I didn't stop there. I stopped at law number 2, the law of free will. Okay? You are the only thinker in your mind. Nobody else gets to think for you unless you allow them to. And the problem is, people don't know that they're the only thinker, that they're the one, that they're the source, that they're gods and goddesses. They don't know that. And therefore, they act like paupers, criminals, thieves, lowlifes. They don't know anything about their internal self. They only know what they've seen projected through the media, television, music, comedy, music again. Yeah. So here's the commentary. You're the only thinker in your mind. Once you know and understand that thought is the causative factor, that thought is the reason or cause behind everything you experience, you will understand why it is so important to learn to think correctly. So you're the only thinker in your mind, which means that no one else can think for you. This is the most wonderful discovery that anyone could ever make. It is the key to freedom, the high road, okay? So your ability to choose what you are going to think about is what makes you a free individual. If you could not think for yourself, you would not be free. And you're not. No one else can get into your mind and think for you. Think about this. People can use force on the outer plane to coerce other people to do or say many things, but no one can get into another person's mind and think for them. Once you understand this, you'll never again be able to say you are thinking as you do because the government says you must, or because your husband says you must, or because your mother says you must. No, no matter what anyone else says you must say or do, you can still think whatever you choose to think. Yeah, I do it all the hell fuck time. And this fact that no one else can think for you is the key to understanding the law of free will. Yeah, since you're the only thinker in your mind, only you can decide what you're going to focus your attention on. So, this choice of focus is your greatest privilege because it is your choice and your choice alone. No one else can make this choice for you. No matter what is happening around you, no matter what anyone says, you alone choose the focus of your attention. Yeah, so you will understand the full significance of this law, the law of free will, when you combine it with the next law, the law of focus. So this is law number 3, the law of focus. Whatever you focus your attention on grows. So here's the commentary. Here again, you have the mental technology to radically alter your circumstances, your past, your future, and every aspect of your life. This law is another spectacular key to freedom because it says whatever you focus your attention on grows. So, this is a far reaching discovery. Since attention is actually energy, it means that you energize whatever you focus your attention on. Your attention brings life to or creates out of the vast field of infinite energy or pure potentiality, whatever experience you are focusing on. Another way of stating this law is my problems don't bother me if I don't think about them. Or I'm so busy feeling good that I don't have time to feel bad. On first glance, these two statements might sound ridiculous, but if you think about them, both contain vital truths about the way the mind works. So you are your consciousness and nothing else. Ask yourself, do you exist if you are not conscious? Can you exist without consciousness? If you understand that you are your consciousness, then it follows logically that you must be and experience whatever you are thinking about. This also means that if you never focus your attention on something, on a so called problem, for example, then the problem really doesn't exist for you, no matter what anybody else says. So, this is a great key to success in every area of life because it means that no matter what your situation is, you can change it by changing the focus of your attention. Thus, wise men and women understand how crucial it is to take control of their minds and focus their attention on objects or experiences of their own choosing instead of being tossed around or influenced by outer circumstances and other people's opinions. Yeah, that's the OPO. So, here's some examples. In every situation, you can choose what to focus on. And let's take some examples, okay? So, you have a pain in your shoulder. You can choose to focus on your shoulder, or you can choose to focus on the rest of your body. So, the 99.9% of your body which feels perfectly healthy and which is functioning perfectly. Since what you focus on grows by focusing on your health and strength, you energize your body and allow your immune system to heal whatever is not in alignment with the focus of your attention. Now that I got your attention, your colleague is complaining about what he calls the tough assignment you both working on, right? So you can choose to agree with your colleague and focus your attention on how difficult the job is and moan and groan your way through every problem you meet, or you can choose to focus your attention on the opportunities and challenges the project presents for yourself, for your colleague, and for your company. Yeah. So, since whatever you focus on grows, your decision to focus your attention on the potential for growth instead of on the project's limitations will automatically reorient the whole situation. So, a close friend tells you that life on planet Earth is headed for disaster. Pollution, population growth, and greed are all getting out of control. She sees nothing ahead but gloom and doom. You can choose to agree with her and focus your attention on all the bad news you see on TV and read about in newspaper, or you can choose to focus your attention on all the incredible breakthroughs mankind is making, on all the wonderful opportunities the new technology is bringing us, and on all the things you are doing and can do as an individual to make planet Earth a better place to live. Again, since your focus will energize the things you focus on, your choice of focus is very important, not just for yourself, but for the future of life on planet Earth. So, you're going to a job interview for your dream job. Since you really want this job, you naturally feel that a lot is riding on this one interview. Now, what do you choose to focus your attention on before the interview? Do you focus on how nervous you are, how important this interview is to you, how shy you feel about talking about your strengths, how difficult you find it to sell yourself, etc.? Or do you decide to focus your attentions on how qualified you are for the job, how enthusiastic you feel about the job and the company? The focus of your attention before the interview not only energizes whatever you think about, it also determines to a large extent your behavior during the interview. In other words, whether you're relaxed and calm during the interview or nervous and tense. It also determines how easy you find it to communicate during the interview, all of which will obviously affect the outcome of the interview. For example, whether or not you get the job. Okay, and so I'm going to read one more. Law number 4, the law of sponsoring thoughts. Your sponsoring thoughts determine your reality. So here's the commentary on that. Your belief patterns determine your experience. The life you are living today is the result of your basic thoughts or opinions about this experience we call life. These basic thoughts or beliefs are your sponsoring thoughts, um, the thought patterns that define your relationship to everything that is happening in this experience we call life. By sponsoring thoughts, I do not mean passing fancies, whims, or you're changing ideas and opinions about this and that. No, I mean your most basic view of understanding of life. These are the ideas that underlie everything you think, say, and do. You could also say these are your most basic ideas about the nature of reality. So each person, every individual human being, has his or her own unique spin or version of the nature of reality. So this is why everyone, every single person, is also living in his or her own special world. At first, this might sound strange to you, but once you have digested and understood the ideas in his book, you will understand why this is so. People have very different views of the nature of reality or of this experience we call life. And as a result, they have very different life experiences. But whatever their life experiences are, they are the outward manifestation of their sponsoring thoughts. Remember, the first mental law: thought is the cause, events are the effect. Yeah, you heard. So here's an example. To illustrate what I mean by sponsoring thought patterns or basic ideas about the nature of reality, here's some examples. The bug. This is the totally materialistic view of the nature of reality. People with this view of life see the world as a solely material or physical phenomenon. Life or reality is what they can perceive with their physical senses and nothing more. There's no underlying cause behind this version of reality. It just appeared out of nowhere. Thus, there's no order or reason for anything to happen. To people with this view, human life is the same as the life of an insect. There is no rhyme or reason for anything to happen, and they often feel that life is totally haphazard. So to them, all of life and all experience is just a matter of luck. Some people get squashed for no good reason, while others are lucky and live long, happy bug lives. So, who the lucky ones is completely beyond the control of the bug. Then there's the sufferer. This is the dualistic view of life or the nature of reality. People with this view of life focus their attention on the dualistic nature of experience. Everywhere they look, they see good and evil, darkness and light, love and hate, sickness and health, poverty and wealth, etc. In this view, there is much suffering in life as human beings swing back and forth between the pairs of opposites from which there is no escape. So often, people with this view of the nature of reality believe that God has orchestrated this scenario. Some even believe that the difficulties they experienced are punishment for sins that they committed. Then there's the fetish worshiper. So this is another spin on the materialistic, dualistic views of life described above. People with this type of sponsoring thought pattern believe their fate or destiny depends on outside forces. For example, forces beyond their own control. These forces include concepts or ideas such as heredity, uh, their horoscope or the position of the stars and planets, their sex, their age, their nationality, or their education. Often people with this view then decide to look to other outside forces in an attempt to create balance and harmony in their lives. Thus, fetish worshippers give away their power to a wide variety of forces such as other people and or external objects or phenomena, which is why I call them fetish worshippers. These outside forces or people could be a doctor, a teacher, the leader of a sect, the position of the planets, crystals and stones, essential oils, pills, the choice of colors, the arrangement of houses and furniture, a healer, psychiatrist, a special diet, medical treatment, alternative treatments, etc. In other words, a fetish worshiper is a person who gives the responsibility for his or her destiny to any outside force, person, regimen, thing, or arrangement. Then there's the mountain climber. People with this view of life or sponsoring thought pattern are basically success oriented. Whether their orientation tends to be more materialistic or spiritual, they basically believe in their own personal power, worth, and ability to succeed. This sponsoring thought pattern tends to support the view that life is good and the human beings have the ability to create a good life for themselves and their families. This type of sponsoring thought is usually at least some part of a belief pattern of the most successful people in the world of business, sports, the arts, and government, right? So next there's the believer. People with this view of life usually believe there's some kind of order or meaning to life. Often they believe in God or some kind of higher power, which tends to include the assumption that human beings are part of an orderly evolution towards something higher and better. Many believers may believe in reincarnation as the Buddhists and Hindus do, which obviously changes one's whole perspective on this present life. In general, the belief in a higher power is a sponsoring thought pattern that influences every aspect of a person's life and circumstances, including the way the person meets the great transition called death. So, according to your faith, obviously, I have greatly exaggerated these scenarios to make my point. When you think the above through, you will discover that the beliefs or sponsoring thought patterns of most of the people you know are a combination of several scenarios. The point I'm trying to make is that these basic belief patterns or sponsoring thoughts are what determine and define the life experience of that individual. You could say that life is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, you very well could say that. Or, as our greatest teacher said when he walked this earth, that would be, hey, yeah, hey, Susio Christios. According to your faith, be it done unto you as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. Yeah, that's Matthew 8:13. So, once you understand this and understand that the world you are living in is a result and reflection of your own special sponsoring thoughts about life or the nature of reality. You will have discovered another important key to improving your life, realizing your dreams, and bringing infinitely more good into your life. So, collective belief patterns, the law of sponsoring thoughts also applies to the consciousness of the groups and to the collective consciousness of humanity as a whole. By groups, I mean family units, tribes, racial and religious groups, regions, states, and nations. Groups share certain belief patterns or sponsoring thought patterns. In fact, that's what makes them a group. Their common beliefs are what brings them together and why they stick together. Since they share the same sponsoring thought patterns, they exhibit similar behavior patterns and share similar life experiences. So wars arise when whole groups share similar negative sponsoring thought patterns, such as my group or tribe or country is superior to your group, tribe, or country. Yeah, so that's where I'm going to end it at. That was law number 4. And I may bring you more in a part 3 or something. I don't know. But these are some things to think about. And also, you're gonna need this to put all your pieces together. You're going to have more tools so you can go a little more faster and be efficient with the pieces that you're putting together. Taking time to see the logic in it, taking time to see common sense, not just accepting somebody else's version without putting into perspective um, what was said, breaking it down, analyzing it, understanding it, and then moving on. Or if you don't understand it, then you have a right to clarify and question. So I'm saying use all of your tools and always be adding more. With that being said, with that being read, yeah.